Good afternoon, good morning, good night, wherever you may be. Welcome to the BALListic Report. Once again, I'm Corey Spivey here with my co-host,
Taylor Moore.
And we welcome you back to preview these key matchups of the playoffs, divisional round, the Super Wildcard weekend, the first of its kind, is in the books. Unfortunately, the Tennessee Titans are not in that number moving forward. But we're just going to go rapid fire here with some of these picks, some of these predictions. We're going to take one from AFC, one from the NFC. I will give the way to you. What are your key matchups in each of the divisions and your prediction?
Man, for my main upset alert, I'm looking for is the Rams at the Packers, man. The matchup that I'm looking forward to is Jalen Ramsey, which is a Tennessee product, versus Devontae Adams. Listen, Jalen Ramsey, if he gets in your head on the field, the game is over. So I'm hoping that Jalen Ramsey can put up a good fight against Devontae Adams, man. Because my biggest thing is that, man, I don't want to see a blowout. I want a good matchup, but at the same time, we have an LA team going to Green Bay. So we talking about hot weather and terrible and cold weather. So that would be the only downfall to the Rams. And then also the fact that I think Aaron Donald was out. So he's a big defensive force on that line. So if he's missing, then they'll really depend on the cornerbacks to step up. So that matchup alone is something I'm looking forward to, man, because if they can shut down Devontae Adams, man, then the other wide receivers will be more pressured to make big plays, and I don't think they can do it. And just quickly, the Rams' rushing offense is pretty good. Cam Akers, the rookie, he stepped up a lot, and the Green Bay rush defense, it's in the middle of the pack. So I feel like they can run against the Green Bay Packers defense. So that's So that's my upset from the NFC. For the AFC, I would have to say the matchup I'm looking forward to is the Rams at the Bills. Again, the weather is going to be a big factor, but the Ravens, they're on the road, man. Once Lamar Jackson gets comfortable, it's a wrap. He can run all over you. And then you have J.K. Dobbins, which is a rookie, and over the past few games, he's been stepping up a lot. So I know he's going to bring it to as well. And then if you look at the Bills' defense, it's in the middle of the pack, just like the Green Bay Packers. So it's something that the Ravens have to attack. So they have a really good matchup with this game. So with the weather being pretty bad, you're going to resort to running the ball because that's safer than trying to throw the ball and maybe. And then maybe the wind could knock it off, and it can cause interception. So I definitely see the Ravens pulling this one out. And just the fact that the Ravens defense is no joke. Listen, watching that game against the Titans, they held Henry down to 40 yards, which was the lowest out of the entire season. The defense came ready to play against the Titans. Now let's see if they can do it against the Buffalo Bills, but I still have the Ravens coming out with the victory on this one.
Yeah. I'll kind of just continue right there with you. I'm with you in the AFC. I think the matchup that I'm waiting to see is that Ravens and Bills matchup. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, they've been hot coming out of it. They hit a little bump in the road in the regular season, but they came out and did what they're supposed to do against the Titans. They ran the ball, and that's what I expect them to do against the Buffalo Bills. As good as the Buffalo Bills team is, one thing that they do not do very well is defend against the run. And as they're constructed, you'd think that they would, but it's one of their weak points. And it is the Ravens' strong suit. So I expect the Ravens to come out and do what they always do, run the ball really, really good. They've got all these different types of, jet action, touch passes, these RPOs, these smoke alerts, these screens, so many different things where they can do to just, to throw off one of the best defenses that you're playing against. But against the Bills, when they're doing all this stuff and you're not a very good run defense, they're going to have a field day. Just coming out of the regular season, they had a game where they had like over 400 yards rushing. So we know that they can, run the yards up, run the football. So I expect Lamar Jackson to come out, have another great game. He's running off a great boost of energy. And like you talked about, this Ravens defense, they are no joke. They are legit. They show what they're capable of up against Tennessee, shutting down the best running back, in pro football right now. And so they show that they can be able to read gaps and shut down your run game. And I think that's what they'll do. I think by halftime, as good as Josh Allen has been, he wasn't very good in, coming out his first 2 years, but this year he's made significant improvement, and he's in the MVP race. You know what I'm saying? So he's a guy that I think, he's got Stephon Diggs, so you can never count him out. But I think by halftime he's going to be seeing ghosts. I think they're going to put some licks on him.
But
So yeah.
but though, what about Marlon Humphreys or either Marcus Peters who guard him, man? You think they can stop him or no?
I don't think that they can stop him, but I think it's gonna be difficult for him to get the ball out. I think they're gonna rush him really quick. If I'm the Ravens defensive coordinator, what I'm doing just like the Titans. I'm coming after you. I'm loading the box. I'm making you get nervous, and I'm making you get the ball out quick. And then I'm double teaming. Whether it's in zone or whether it's in man coverage with a safety, I'm double teaming Stephon Diggs because we know he's your go-to. We know he's all world. We know he's talented. And I think that's what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to come out, double team him, and send a lot of pressure at Josh Allen. And to be completely honest with you, as good a year as he's had, I don't think he's going to be able to stand up against it. But on the other side, I took the other game. I took a bit of a cop-out in the NFC. I took the Saints-Bucks matchup only because this might be the last one. You know what I'm saying? Drew Brees had a tremendous career, but he fell short last year. I think that's what brought him back. This year, they've played Tom Brady twice. And, you talk about seeing ghosts. He saw some ghosts because they put him on the ground. In that last game, I think they hit him about 9 times. And so we've seen that Tom Brady, although he is the GOAT, he needs time to move. And so I'm putting this game on the offensive line of the Bucks. If you want to win this game, can you go out and at least hold them a little bit so Brady can get the ball out? Because you think about Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, Gronk, they've got weapons. They've got some weapons. So if you give him some time, he can pick you apart. He's the greatest quarterback we've ever seen. But I think that the Saints defense is going to go out and complete this sweep. I think they're going to come after him. I think they're going to make it difficult on him. They're not going to give him time. They're going to shut down this run game. He only got 3 points in the last time they played. I think they lost 38-3. He's been playing hot, but I'm taking the Saints in this matchup, and I think they'll be able to move on, and then they'll have to face that juggernaut up in Green Bay. But so yeah, I'm taking the Ravens in the Bills game, and then I'm taking the lost my train of thought. Taking the Saints in the Bucks game. So now that we've talked about the key matchups, let's go rapid fire with some of these scores. First game up, we talked about the Bucks and the Saints. Who are you taking in that one, and what's your score prediction?
Man, I was surprised you said the Saints against the Buccaneers.
Yeah,
You're gonna pull it out, man, because if we look at the playoffs over the past couple of years, they've always had the short end of the stick, man. So when you said the Saints, I'm like, you really chose the Saints, man.
Yeah.
I have Tom Brady and the Buccaneers pulling it out because when you give him a decent team or something he can work with, versus last year, we took on the Titans in the playoffs. He didn't have the receivers to go to, and he was frustrated out there. Now, like you said, he has Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, Gronk.
Yeah.
Like he has a list of receivers he can throw to. So I'm going with the Buccaneers 38-35. This is Tom Brady, a revenge game to get back at Drew Brees. So I think Tom Brady will be able to have a good game, but it will be close. I'm looking for a mini shootout. So I'm going to say 38-35. Bucks.
Yeah, the reason I'm still okay with picking the Saints again is because what we've seen all season is as great as he's been at the end, as great as a career as he's had, it's not a knock on him. The 5 games that they lost those games because he did not have time to throw the football. You think about the Bears that took him out. They were on him. There were sometimes if you watch some of those replays, he's getting hit and he's looking around like, I can't keep taking these hits. You know what I'm saying? He's getting older in his career. He's not a very mobile guy, so that's why I took the Saints in this one. I think it's going to be a thriller that comes down to the end. But again, I think the Saints complete the sweep.
Okay.
I think they take this one 23-17.
Okay.
Yeah, 23-17 Saints. We talked a little bit about, it was both our key matchup in the AFC, Buffalo and Baltimore. What's your score prediction in that game?
Man, I have Ravens coming out with the win 27-21.
Okay.
I think the first half might start off a little shaky for both sides, but after the first half is over, I'm thinking both teams will be more adjusted to the weather and to the different conditions, and also just calm down a little bit, man. Because if you look at Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, man, they're both really young. Like they're both under 25, 26, I think. So they're still young quarterbacks. So they're still new to the playoffs. So I think that the game will probably start to get a little bit more exciting towards the second half. But I think the Ravens defense and with the Ravens offense led by Lamar Jackson, man, they're gonna be too much for the Bills defense to keep up. So I had the Ravens coming out 27-21.
Great minds think alike. I took the Ravens in this one 27-20. And I agree too. I think it's going to be shaky for both teams, but I can see the Ravens coming out and riding off that confidence and playing hot. I think they'll get up 10-0, 14-3 really, really quick. But I think Josh Allen and this team will show some grit, show some fight, but I don't think it'll be enough. And so, like I said, I take the Ravens in this one 27-20. So let's flip back over to the NFC as we continue to go rapid fire. The next big game is up, which was your upset game. You think that the Rams will beat the Packers?
Yeah. Man,
okay, what's your score prediction in that game?
I had the Rams to come out with this one 20-17, man. I think it's gonna be a low scoring game, man, because with the Rams defense has been a top three defense throughout the whole entire season. So if they can come to play to that top three defense, then I think Green Bay will have a hard time moving up and down the field. And with the Rams, with Jared Goff, he still may be dealing with that thumb injury that he had a couple weeks ago. So I'm still thinking that, hey, I don't see the Rams really moving the ball too much and it's only if the running game cannot get going. So if the running can't get going, then I think it's gonna be a hard time for them to be able to move down the field. So that's why. That's why I'm saying that this game probably be a low scoring game for me. So I had the Rams still pulling it out, man. I gotta go with Jalen Ramsey, man. He made an All-Pro team this year. He only had one interception, man, but this year, man. But that's only because that the Rams defensive line was so good, man, and that just the fact that the Rams, just the fact that opposing teams didn't have time to even throw it his way, and if they did, it was either defended, or either batted down. So for this one, man, I got to stick with the Rams on this one, man. I'm looking for the upset.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't see, that happening, but I can understand why you say that because that Rams defense, they are pretty good. Aaron Donald up front, and then you talked about Jalen Ramsey only having the one interception. Part of that is the fact that they were getting to the quarterback, but part of that is because he was daring quarterbacks to throw it my way. Because if you throw it over here, I'm taking it to the house. Yeah. And so he obviously got, one victim. But if you go back and look, which is why I don't agree with it, but I can definitely understand it. You look at Jalen Ramsey, again, Nashville product, so big ups to him. And I would not be upset if they did win this game. When you look at how he faced up against those number one receivers, their resume this year is great. I mean, it really is. So I wouldn't be surprised if he has a good game. The thing I'm really looking forward to in that game is Jalen Ramsey up against Davante Adams. I think they're two of the best in what they do. Davante Adams, he ain't no joke.
He bad.
Footwork, impeccable, bro. But, with all that said, I think the Packers, that offensive juggernaut, they are not anything to play with. I took this one 34-17 Green Bay.
Oh,
I think it may be close in that first half, but I think over time, Aaron Rodgers being so good, he's gonna start picking them apart, figuring out the spaces in the zones, taking guys off the one-on-one coverage, and I think he'll find a way to really open up this lead. So again, I take Green Bay 34-17. And then our very last,
I'll say one thing though, man. The weather is really playing to their advantage, man, because they
yeah,
love playing in that snow. And that's one thing about teams playing that weather, man. Once you get used to it, you good, man. But just LA, you coming from, probably like 67-degree weather, man, like on average, and then you coming down to 10 degrees, man. You can't feel your fingers. You don't feel like talking because it's just that cold outside, man. So man, that's the only thing that I would say, man, that if they do pull it out, man, that's a big factor too, I think.
Yeah, it a colossal factor. I'm glad you brought that up because that just further proves my point. I may even open it up to 54-17. No, but you also talk, you're thinking about that weather aspect. Lamar Jackson, for some odd reason, came out with that statement about not wanting to play in the snow. Your leader,
you should just
that's not anything I want to say. Now I hope he goes out there and finds a way. Luckily, it's still cold, but luckily they're not a team that tries to move the ball through the air, so you can still run in the ground when it's snowing. But continuing this weather thing, I'll watch Davante Adams pick apart that Titan secondary, which wasn't very good anyway. But if you go back and watch some of the replays and some of the game footage, his footwork, he never slipped. He never loosed footed. He never, messed up coming in and out of a breaker on a route. He kept his footwork, kept his speed, kept his cuts right intact, even in the snow. So Jalen Ramsey's going to have his hands full, but Davante Adams, I think, is going to pull that one out. Okay. And then in our very last game, as we close out this rapid fire, probably the most emotional game that's going to come on, Pittsburgh and Cleveland. What's your prediction in that game?
You mean the Browns and the Chiefs?
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking about last week. Yeah. This is why we're best friends, man. Yeah. Chiefs and Browns. Man. How do you see that game playing out, man?
Man, honestly, I think the Cleveland Browns are just satisfied. I mean, they want a playoff game. If I'm not
man,
like years, I think, man. So I feel like right now, man, they just on like a good high right now. They just feeling good about themselves. They won that first playoff game, man. So that's a nice stepping stone for them. Just for a team, who went 0-16, one season, 2-4. Hey, so this is a plus for them, man, to make it this far. So I see the Chiefs coming out 31-17, man. I think they're gonna get up like really quickly, man. Like maybe like in the second quarter, man. I'm thinking about the second quarter, man. The game should be over with, man. So that's why I think the Browns probably get that 17 points, man. Just man, like really, man, just doing it like trash time, So
yeah.
And man, then really, man, just looking at the Chiefs, man, they didn't really lose a step, man, coming into this, this season as defending champs, man. I think they were ready to go into the playoffs, man. Probably around week 9 or 10, man. So really at this point, they were just ready. They were just ready to get to the playoffs. But the only thing that I would say that might throw them off is just the fact that they had a week off for rest, man. So they might be a little rusty too. So if they come out on fire, it's a wrap, man. But I feel like if it takes them a quarter to two just to get back into the rhythm of playing, man, because they've basically been off for 2 weeks, man, because in their last because in the last
been 3 actually
game, I think Patrick Mahomes didn't play as well as Tyreek Hill, so it was a few of their stars who didn't even play for the final game, man. So he basically off for 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, say, so
3 weeks for the starters. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
3 weeks. So so that I would, so if anything, if they're rusty, man, then the game might seem like it's close, but if they come out firing from the go, it's a wrap. So 31-17.
Yeah. I agree with most of what you said up until the rust part. I actually think Andy Reid and these guys are going to take a page out of the Ravens book from last year. Look, we took these times off, but we're going to be ready. And I think they're going to be a well-oiled machine that comes out quick. They're firing on all cylinders. And like you said, I'm right there with you on that. I think they're going to put this game away early and crush the Browns. And I think the Browns are going to get those points and those yardage in garbage time because the Chiefs have kind of taken their foot off the accelerator. They might bring it close late and kind of give it a scare, but I don't think they're ever going to really close that gap. I'm taking the Chiefs in this one 35-24, and I don't think it's going to be as close. 35-20, excuse me. I don't think it's going to be as close as the score predicts. But yeah, I just think the Chiefs are too much to handle. And once they fixed their defense last year, by the time they got to the AFC Championship and they got rolling, it was over with. So the Browns are going to have their hands full. You know, I've been rooting for them because I think Baker and those guys and the city of Cleveland, period, you know, they've just been so down as a sports town. They just need something. But unfortunately, I think their luck is going to run out. Let me ask you this before we close out, though. Do you think the Titans would have fared up against the Chiefs better than the Browns would have?
Man, then again, like I put it like this: our offense is so predictable that if you can stop it, good. But if you can't stop, you're gonna get frustrated, man, because all they doing is okay. I'm gonna run the ball 2 times, play action. I'm gonna run the ball 1 time, play action. I'm gonna throw the ball. So if their offense can come out firing, man, then they can go toe to toe with them. But man, just like this season, man, if the offense, man cannot make adjustments throughout the game and stay consistent, then the Chiefs man probably run off with us too, man. Because our defense is worse this year, man, than what it was last year.
Yeah.
So they'll be scoring every possession, at least getting a field goal every possession, man. So I don't see stopping them on 3rd down. Man, they had too many weapons too. Maybe you have Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, but you have McCole Hardman, Sammy Watkins, and these are like, man. And the thing is that like these are wide receiver 3 and 4s on the Chiefs team, man. If you take them to another team, that could be a wide receiver 2 or possibly a 1, depending on which team you on. Man, they have a lot of weapons, so it's like, man, with our cornerbacks against those, no, so to answer your question, man, I don't think the Titans would have fared well. I think it would have been worse, man, because we actually got up against the Chiefs to starting off the game last year. So this year, man, I hate to say it, man, but I don't see us even, possibly scoring 14 points against them.
Really?
No.
Well, see, I would have different. I don't think that they would have been able to beat them, but I think they would have fared up right about the same as the Browns, because the Browns run the football also. The only reason I give the Browns the advantage over the Titans, because I heard a lot about how the Titans would have been able to hold the ball away from Patrick Mahomes and maybe take away a couple of those possessions. But I'm right there with you. Our defense wouldn't have been able to stop anything. I think that would have been probably the worst performance on the secondary perspective all year, because they just got too many weapons. But I think they would have been able to fare up with them better on the offensive side, because they can go out and get points. They didn't really show it really well in the first playoff game, but I think they could have been able to score with them and kind of keep it competitive. But I think ultimately the Chiefs still would have overpowered them. But I mean, that's just something I've been hearing. And since we're Tennessee-based, I wanted to see your reaction.
Let me ask you something, though. Okay, man. So pertaining to the Browns, man. So if they were to win this game, man, because I think that their defense is better than ours. The Browns defense, man. So you think Baker Mayfield, just as a quarterback, can beat the Chiefs, man, by passing the ball?
Yes.
By passing the ball?
Yes.
Okay.
And here's the reason: because they got that 2-headed monster in the backfield. Okay. And what if the running game cannot get going, which the Chiefs did pretty decent against Derrick Henry last year, if they can find a way, see, the reason I say yes is because although the Titans are a good run offense, there's not really much creativity. They're going to run the outside zone run. They're going to figure out where's the gap, and they're going to get Henry to the outside, put him against those little guys, and he's going to knock them off, a la Josh Norman and some of these other guys that got knocked down. But what the Browns do is they've got that, like I said, that 2-headed monster that they can do multiple things with, a lot of the boot action and things like that. So I think being able to run off that, I think he would be able to throw it. But if the run game is not there, no, I don't. So I'd say yes and no. I mean, do you think he will?
Man, I think the reason why he's been able to play so well this season, just like you said, man, just the fact you have Nick Chubb and then Kareem Hunt, like they're doing everything for you, to a certain extent. Man, you have one of the top 5 offensive linemen. Man, look, they took Jack Conklin from the Tennessee Titans and signed him.
Yeah,
Turned out to make it to, I think, a Pro Bowl this year. So it's like, man, like you
yeah,
see,
and
man, so
yeah,
really Baker Mayfield's in a situation where it's like, listen, like really he's a game manager, which is nothing wrong with it, man. But at the same time, you do your part, it makes you look
yeah,
really good, But if you can't do your part, it's like, hey, look, this guy need to be kicked out the league,
yeah,
So so man. But like you said, if he can utilize the running backs in the running game as well as the passing game, then it's gonna help out other receivers, just as Jarvis Landry, man, because he had a big game against the Steelers, man, when they beat him. So yeah,
yeah.
so like you said, it just depends if they go through the running game and if it's effective. So
I think that's the one game that I don't think is going to be up in the air. I think all the other games can go one way or the other. But I think this is the one game that Chiefs and Browns. I'll tell you this. Talk about these hypotheticals. I think the only way the Browns can beat the Chiefs is if the Chiefs are rusty, and because the Browns have an okay defensive line that can come after you.
yeah, they do.
If the Chiefs are rusty and the Browns can get after Patrick Mahomes consistently, then you may have a Pittsburgh Browns situation again. That wouldn't surprise me, but I think the chances of that happening are slim to none.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll kind of see where it goes. The playoffs have been exciting, and we waited for this all year. I'm just glad that we were able to make it thus far. I'm also glad that you guys are still here, still supporting us. Again, send these videos to your friends, to your fellow sports lovers, your family. Tell them to subscribe to our channel. Of course, as always, follow us on Instagram at Ballistic Report Sports, and we will be coming to Twitter and Facebook soon. So keep an eye out for that. You all have a good week. Never be satisfied and tighten up, y'all.
Sure. All right.